probably in his mid 50s, and really high functioning guy, very smart guy. He was a college professor, and had sort of a number of things happen in his life. So we met and started working together. And one of the things that came out, I don't remember how it came out in his timeline necessarily, but his wife had died. His wife had died about I want to say like 18 months before we met, something like that. So again, I mean, recent, I would say. And he told me in a very kind of cerebral way, I've never grieved my wife. I really never cried. He said, I never cried. He goes, I don't even know if I cried when she had gotten a diagnosis of stage 4 cancer. And when she got the diagnosis, it was a very short time between when she got the diagnosis and when she died. I want to say it was like a month or two. And he, in his own words, he was very smart. He was like, yeah, I just got all into the logistics of it. I was just taking her to appointments. And then when she died, I was planning the funeral and I was doing this, and, and he knew all this, but there was a disconnect, and I didn't get the feeling. So we targeted his wife's death, and I remember he had a real hard time with the SUD score. He wanted to think that one, and I kept saying, what does it feel like in your gut? What does it feel? And I had to like coach him on to like get some awareness of his body in that session. And again, because we do yoga meditation on the side, that a lot of that shows itself even before, which is, I think, an advantage. But anyway, we go and start doing this, and he said, I think he even said he wanted to cry. I don't remember if he said it in those words, but he definitely thought he should have cried. And so we're doing the death, and he's definitely like emotional when we start processing, but he's not crying. He's not crying, and he's getting frustrated. And he didn't say it, but I really thought he was getting frustrated with himself. It was like he was like, experiencing his life, even EMDR and his life, like through these filters or veils, like what he thought he should be doing or should be saying. And I think it was confusing him. And so neither one of us knew what to do. There really wasn't a positive shift, not a full. I could make a case for a phase 5, but it would be very. I don't know, man. I don't know if I could really even say it, but we were somewhere within the session, and we had been in there a while, and we stopped. And I remember, again, like some clients, I got to coach them. Like, I don't want to talk too much in between these sessions, because I don't want you out of that like full healing, state. I don't want this just a frontal lobe stuff. But that was, again, like the challenge of this guy's life. So we were talking, or he was talking, and he just said, I just don't know what's going on. I never cry. Like, what's wrong with me? I just never cry. I can't cry. And it was not even just about his wife. He was saying it was like about everything. It kind of felt like, and I noticed when we were doing this, the only thing I could say about it, like, that I did remember, because I try to really pay attention and attune with those clients as I've been taught. And I just remember thinking and making a note, his breathing was very shallow. I could see his chest. Like, it was just like he was like breathing in, and it stood out. I don't know. So it stood out to me.
Yeah.
And so that kind of in my mind, but then he just paused, and I truly I didn't know what to do. I didn't know I didn't know whether to say, let's just install the positive belief and see what happens. I was just like, there was silence, and it was like deafening, And he's just like, the way he said it, he's like, I just never cried. And I don't know why, but I just sat there for a second, and I just thought, I didn't even think of like, where am I? Am I between this session? I just said to the dude, yeah, in ancient Chinese medicine and other traditions, like, the unresolved grief is held in the lungs. And he looked at me, and he just burst into tears. And he had a long, I think he even like it was like I gave him permission or something. It was just, he looked at me, and it was just like, what did you say? Like, he didn't say anything, but his look was like, what? And then I just saw the tear. It was like a lifetime of tears that came up for this guy. And he just cried. And I didn't even know if I should do it. I just started the BLS right then.
Yeah.
I just should have. Okay. It was like, I didn't know what to do, but it was like, that's the right thing to do. And then he got it out, and it was about like his stuff with his dad came up. and there was definitely like a men don't cry kind of deal, you know.
Big boys don't cry.
Big boys don't cry. And he had gotten that message real, you know. I didn't even know all of that. A lot of it came out at the end, but saying that gave him permission to just open up. I that's the best way I could say it. But there was no thought of that or planned stuff like that. You know, I just remember because of some of my interests, like that's a thing. And sometimes they say that. So for him and this guy, it's funny too, because this guy's he took a lot of convincing. When I would do meditation with him, it was very much he needed the science. He wanted to see what was going on with the brain, and that's cool. Like I'm into that. I think that's great. But that was he was all that. So to say something like ancient Chinese medicine, you know, he's like, what? And that was it. So it was this real sort of thing outside for him. But again, I'll never forget that.
No, I know. And that's like you know, this sort of, you know, we were just talking earlier about a stroke of genius, right? Where you're like thinking and then like, I don't know, man. And then you're noticing the breath and he's not crying. And then you remember, oh, well, I know like lungs have something to do with grief and he's afraid to grieve. And then out whatever you need, there it is. Without like, you know, you weren't like studying Chinese medicine last night.
No.
And I doubt, like, I don't think anybody in EMDR would know the Chinese medicine interweave, but you've just created it. And everybody who's you know taking my class will remember. Well, you know, if somebody's afraid to cry, you might mention, you know, Ryan's Chinese medicine interweave and see if you get some, you know, because it worked like a charm, you know. And it
did, and and it was just like you said, it's just that's the magic of attuning with the client, you know, and trusting the process of EMDR when I don't know. That's what is, you know, I don't know if you're
like, I mean, maybe I'm like that too a little, I don't know, but I'm probably not, but you're like still like uneasy about not knowing. Like you said, I didn't know what to do. I know. I know you don't know. I mean, I don't know. But I'm getting more. Yeah, but whatever. That's like almost like a gift because I don't know. You're really attentive. Some please show up here that I will understand it. How maybe I can help because it's clear the guy wanted help. You know, like,
oh my God,
why can't I cry? And you like I could see you. Maybe you felt a little helpless, and then all of a sudden there's this sort of statement that changed the whole session. So
I kind of thought the session was
going to be say, even without that stroke of genius, you have this sort of, maybe I should just try to jam phase 5 in here and see what happens. I probably would have thought that. I think that's okay. I don't care what the VOC is. I'm just trying to get something to happen, right? I know the book says don't ever do that, but you know, I got to try to get something going, try to help. You're just critically thinking about this sort of jammed up process. So yeah, so no, nice work, man.
The gift in not knowing, and I think that's because it makes you curious.
Yeah,
and that's good.
Yeah. I think I said that somewhere. I don't remember somewhere.
I think so. I'll give you credit.
No, yeah, because everything's about knowing. I think it's in one of the videos because we go to graduate school and you're supposed to know. They teach you how to know stuff. And you need to know stuff because you know about Chinese medicine. You needed to know. So you went looking to kind of trying to know stuff. But when you're in front of your client, you want to forget everything.
Yeah.
And then whatever you know will kind of, you know, it just happens. And that's really where you're sort of, you know, this sort of that, like that book I sent you, that genius myth. I mean, that was that stroke of genius, you know, changed everything. And that's really doesn't happen if you're always in your head watching the session.
Yeah, we're just asking for SUDs and VOCs all the time. And, you know, I don't even think we did. I didn't really, the guy was very unreliable when it came to SUDs or VOC. I kind of was just like,
he's not alone. He's not alone.
Yeah, definitely.